there are more possibilities behind this login. So we have different languages which we can provide. We are working with a simple text table. So if you want to have it in Polish, it's also possible to have it in the Polish language, because then we have only to translate this special wordings into different languages. We are also able to have different companies. So if there are two different named companies within a concern or whatever, we can handle that as well. And of course, we can handle different currencies if the customers want. So this is a simple starter where we can start. To repeat it, so on the front end we have a web shop. This data are coming into the MIS, and from the MIS it's going out to the plan. It's also important to have the PDE, so the product flow information, and these are simple modules, like we have also a text and an Excel module where we can open Excel files as well. So let's start the MIS part and close this window. Open and Word file. The Word file starts from here. So this is the main menu. I don't think I have to explain much this icons. Yeah, that's save and cancel and so on. That's very easy. That it's for the navigation. There are two special fields. So field number one is our quick menu, where we can add different direct jumps to parts of the program, or maybe one of the office guys is always working with this special customer, or with this special product, so he can add this as well to this menu. And the second part is here. If I start typing, the database is searched for this a small string, and we don't care if it's an article, if it's a person, if it's a customer, or if it's an order. So we can jump directly from here into, for example, this project, or to the customer, or whatever we want. So that's very easy. Let's start with the master data. So I normally start with the performance catalog. Yeah. So in this part we have the information about the machines in the company. So that means we divide it into different areas, like the pre-press part, or the sheet fed, or the finishing, or whatever. So for example, if I take this machine, that's a 8-color machine and a varnish unit, and this is the pre-definition of this machine. So there's an inking, there are 8 inking units. There's a turn unit after print unit number 4. That's the minimum and maximum printout, the minimum and maximum print format, and so on. So that's the basic information about the machine. Then we have also performance values. Performance values means normally if the print run is very low, also the speed of the machine is low. So as you can see here, you get a curve which is rising. And on the other hand, we have the grammage. So if I'm talking about, okay, 70 gram paper, we are going slow. The optimum range is the 120 to 130, and then we are also going down if the grammage is getting higher. And at that point we can also add aggregates. We call it aggregates. So if I want to do a drip-off varnish on this machine, I need an additional plate, for example. Or if I want to do an inline perforation, I need 50 minutes setup time. Yeah. So it depends on the machine which aggregates we are talking about. Some of them have no aggregates, some of them have more than one. So everything is possible. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the performance.
Is it somehow connected to ink definition of the machines?
With the finishing?
With the printing machines, with the materials and so on.
Yeah, the material is another thing. So this was to define the machines which are in a printing company. Yeah, so enveloping machine, cutting machines, and so on. So that's the pre-definition. That has to be done once. Normally, yeah. So, but if there's a new machine coming in, so we can add this machine as well. Yearly. You have to do yearly the information about the cost centers. So the cost center here, we are talking about the costing approach, for example. Let's take one of the machines. Where is it? Yeah, for example, this machine, and there's a costing approach. So this machine, there are variable cost of 75 and fixed cost of 55. And we can also add distribution and administration costs in percentage or a value. So it's everything is possible. Yeah, and of course you can add activities to this machine. So for example, as you can see here, there's a setup, varnish unit, cleaning, and so on for this cost center number. Yeah. That's important then for the planning. And as you can see here, you can also add different time types descriptions like remove and waiting and so on. That this is waiting time, and machine maintenance, repair, technical problem, and cleanup auxiliary times. So for the post calculation, it's important sometimes to see, okay, this was setup, this was production time, and this is the rest of the time, helping times, for example. Yeah. So that's the definition of the cost centers. Then we have the customer. The customer contains everything you need to describe your customer. For example, the name, addresses, home pages, who's the sales representative in your company, yeah? Who's the sales assistant, telephone numbers, VAT numbers, currencies, countries, and so on, as well as conditions. You can add 5 selections code for yourself. So for example, customers, important customer and potential customers as class, or maybe you want to classify it as an A, B, and C customer. So that's up to the customer to make this information happen. We have the information about the banking details. There's a small query about the short information in which area my customer makes the profit. Yeah. So in the background, there's you can see, okay, 50% he makes with an offset print, but he also works in the store for 10%. Yeah. So that's only a short information about a specific period. Information about the sales, what happened this year. There's an information about the FTP codes for the customer and from the customer if there's any information. As you can see in the background, he's collecting all the information right now, and that's the sales in this year, for example, for this customer. We can have different billing addresses in the background. So if there's a concern in your country, and I expect that, like Coca-Cola or so on, so you have different delivery addresses, but there's one address where we can send the bills. And of course, every customer can have a provision, for example, for the agency, for an advertising agency, for example, or maybe for a salesperson, a specific, there's a fixed or a percentage commission for that customer. So similar windows we have for the suppliers and of course for the articles. Within the article window you can see everything you need to define an article. For example, this is this ProPlus paper. It's this group, so you can consumable finishing. There's an article number, there's an internal article number, there can be also a supplier number to send the right information to the supplier. You can see here that's for an inline perforation, I think. It's not a paper, it's an inline perforation. This is the supplier. You can have the weight, the quality, the format, and everything you need for the article, as well as the information about the stock level. Is the reservation, for example, or is there a reorder quantity, and so on, minimum stock, destruction date, a key period. So we can handle every article. If I take a closer look in the article book, you can see, for example, we can also handle couverts, punching dies, label paper roll, and so on. So we can make different groups. For example, this was for a company which makes flags, and this is the flag material, for example. And you can see, okay, this much is on stock, this is reserved, and if you don't like this layout, you can move the internal article number to this place, and you can store this layout as well, so everybody can make their own layouts. Yeah? And if you want to rechange it because you want to see, okay, I want to see first the zeros, what's not on stock, and so on. So that's also possible within the article book. So now let's start with the project. Projects contains not only one product, we can also have different product types. For example, a project contains maybe business cards, a letter, and a leaflet in one of the projects. Yeah. So, but you can make it separately as well. We define, this is a project list. Normally the last 28 days are listed here. If you want to see more, you can also search without date, so it's also possible. Yeah, and we have a lot of possibilities to look at. For example, this is a YO binding, a booklet. With a double click, you are jumping into the project, and this is a typical project window. So on the left hand side, you have the information about the customer. On the top, you have a small description and an order number. And as you can see here, we have predecessors and successors. So with a simple click on this icon, you can jump to this offer. Maybe you made an offer before, or maybe you made an order. Yeah, so you can jump in this row from one to one. This is the information about some dates which are necessary to make the product, and also out of the customer master data, this information will come. So sales representative or the sales assistant. And we also store who made the sheet, so who made the estimation for this example. Down here we have the description of the product, and we can also jump in. And this is now the expert mode. Expert mode means we have all the information we need to produce it. So this is the booklet. We have a pre-press information, so we make a proof in A4 for the customer. That means we add 50 euros to the estimation, and then we print it on 50 pages on this with this format. We have a data check, we have a CTP, we have a pre-press for plot again, and we print it on this printing machine, the SM705. And as you can see here, on every stage, we can see how much we how much is the price. So as you can see, for this machine, the price is 168 euros in total. And now the special thing is, if I take a look at the aggregate, so if I say, okay, I need the inline perforation, I will add this. As you saw before, inline perforation means 50 minutes more, and in this case the total price is of course increased because we added now the 50 minutes, and 50 minutes on this machine means this hourly costs, and means at the end we end up with this price. We need on this place Scala color and also the dispersion varnish, because we said, okay, we need a varnish, and you can see also the quality and of course the price in the background, because we add this to the machine. We have also the possibility to add external services, for example. So if there is a transport company and you can see the prices per unit and what we add as an external service. Yeah. So this was one of the projects. At the end, if we did the calculation, I can see, okay, I need also this amount of paper out of the stock. We have 16 times the data check, we have 8 plates, and of course we have the color and the varnish, and that leads to a price. And this price means we calculated 500, 1,000, 2,500 and 5,000 pieces, and in the background there's always the calculation of the price. So if the customer comes and says, yeah, that's okay, 5,000 is nearly okay, but I need 5,200 and 5,300, we can add this very easy. So 5,300, we can add this, save it, and then it's calculated in the background and you can see the new prices. Yeah, and of course the new prices are here, and here you can make a special price, for example 5,200. Yeah, we make a special price with 5,700, for example. Yeah, so you can change the prices on any label, but you can see as well the contribution rate and so on. So it's fully clear for the product. We can also add product descriptions to the project. Yeah, so we can add the standards, and this is normally the standard, but that's predefined by the company. And as you can see here, that's the identifier. So not everything is printed on every paper. For example, the delivery date is only printed on the offer. It makes no sense to print it on the bill or on the foreign works or on the electronic work order. So this information gives you an information on which paper we print the right information. And if that is also added, we can close it and we can now send out a quote. This quote can be different, so maybe there's a second company, or you make an offer for pieces, or you make offer for the whole project, whatever you want. And I take this one first. So this opens the report engine, and we get a PDF out of this information. So every information we put in is now printed as a PDF, and we can send it out directly out of the system. And as you can see, we added 5.2 and 5.3, and the prices is also here. I didn't save the 5.7, so but we can also add signatures, for example. So if there's a signature, you can see it here as well on the offer. Every document is stored in the document management, and we also get in follow-up information. So if I want to have a follow-up for the company, the sales representative representative and the assistants get the information, okay, please follow up this offer if they want. If they don't want, no follow update and everything is done. But as you can see here, we store it. And you can also see there is an old version and you can also see the old document. Yeah, so that's only with the 1 to 5 and 5,000 pieces. Is it clear for you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this was the quote. If the customer now decides, okay, the printing company, you are now able to produce it, we have to do two things, and that depends on the company, how the company works. The first thing is we have to reserve the paper. Yeah. So or anything we need to run the product in the production hall. That means we have to make a reservation or order. So we are now jumping to the, let's say, supplier part. Yeah. So for example, we need the paper, but we need only the paper because we don't need the plates and the data check. So we make this. We want to reserve or reorder the paper. So that's the material request. And as you can see, there's nothing on stock. Yeah, but we need this quantity, so I make an order out of here. For that supplier, and we can collect orders to the supplier, for example, to send it out once a day. So the supplier IGEPA gets every article for reordering on his list, and another supplier gets another list, and we can send it out. So it's similar. If I make an order, I can say, okay, make a standard order. And that's the information also for the stock, because the paper is coming in 2 days, in 3 days, and so on. But we make now the order and it's going out to the supplier. Yeah, that's the part of a supply department. Some of our customers make there's the sales representative responsible for that. So, but it's up to the company. And as you can see here, it's the quantity we need. If there's the definition of a quantity in the material master data, which says, okay, we can only order a pallet, for example, the quantity is changed to 75,000, for example, because that's the sheets on a pallet. And of course, the price information is also coming out of the articles. That's step number 1. And as you can see, it's also stored in the documents. And part number 2 is, okay, we release it for the production. And from now on, it's also, or now the planner is responsible for that order. Oh, I made it an offer. Normally we store both. O stands for offer, and as you can see here, A stands for order. That means we store both of them, because normally we change something within the offer. Maybe we change the paper, or maybe we change the print run, or maybe we change anything else. So normally we store the order and make an offer the other way around. We store the offer and make an order out of that. But we can handle this part as well. So if I make a new project, and that's the new part right now, that's knowledge-based calculation. We make a new project, and as you can see here, this is now with pre-definitions. So we say, that's the important thing, okay, we make an offer, we choose a customer out of our customer list, and maybe, and as you can see here, there's a contact person or not. Yeah, so I take also the contact person, and now I make, as a pre-definition, I make a magazine. Yeah, and the second step is I need a quantity. For example, we make 5,000 and we make 25,000 as an alternative. That's a magazine Poland. The end format is A4. We have, and that's part of the pre-definition. So we know there's a cover with 4 pages and there's a content. So if I say, okay, the page count is now 52, you can see there's still 4 pages cover and content is 48. We can have a delivery date, for example, we need it in 2 weeks, and also we can have a delivery zone, so we are going by own lorry to 50 kilometer, and we can also change the weight of the paper. Pre-definition is a cover is 150 and the content is 115. Yeah? So that's the only thing we have to add, and maybe there's a post press, for example, stitching machine. And then we are optimizing this using our knowledge base calculation. So there are some algorithm comparing benchmarks on the market. So we take the databases of our customers and make out of this the information. If there's a machine like a Heidelberg XL with this cost, use it, for example.